that is party to the Rome Statute, that is the instrument that created the ICC, have international obligations to cooperate. You're quite right that Mongolia as a state party was aware of the warrants. The world is aware of the warrants that have been issued. President Putin entered the territory of Mongolia, a state party. That warrant was not executed. That is a process in which the state can answer questions from the judges, and then the judges have a decision to make whether there's a reasonable excuse in international law under the statute or whether there's non-cooperation. And if there's non-cooperation, the judges have the power to refer the finding of non-cooperation to the Assembly of State Parties. So there's a process. And then the state parties, and Ukraine will, perhaps even by December, by the next Assembly of State Parties, Ukraine may be, the ratification may have been deposited. Those states will have a decision to make. But around the world, we need people not just to talk and give false promises to victims. Today is about children. Don't give false promises to children, to the old, to the infirm, to women, to men, that there's justice, or that states, we need states to back up promises with words. Otherwise, people in Ukraine, people in Sudan, in Darfur, in Palestine, in Israel, the Rohingya in Myanmar and Bangladesh, nobody will believe these promises that there is this thing called justice. So I think there's a process, but we're moving forward with some very concrete, demonstrable ways, with the great leadership of Brenda Hollis, who's here, the members of the team, and the great partnerships with Andriy Kostin's Prosecutor General, the government of Ukraine, SBU, actually with many states as well. So I remain optimistic despite this one instance, because the bottom line is, that's my last part of the answer. This is the first time President Putin, a permanent head of a state that is a permanent member of the council, has entered the territory of a state party since the warrant was issued. It's not as if he's traveling every week. There are risks, and there are independent judges, and there is the law. And I think already, for any fugitive from any country of the world that is subject to warrants, states realize that if they fail to execute it, whether it's against President Putin or anybody else, their population will ask questions, never mind the international community. What about those promises of a new century, a new decade, a new reality where the law is felt by people? What of this rules-based system that we've heard so much about?